Okay, first thing I do actually is go ahead and get off the old filter and put the new one on and kind of prime it just by pouring some motor oil into it. With the horizontally mounted oil filters, you can't fill them up all the way. You're probably 2/3 of the way. You want to put as much oil in them to start as possible, because on motorcycle especially, with you have sometimes a problem with the airlock with the pump. So you want to get oil in there so your oil pump isn't out of prime. So this makes this job a lot easier. You know, the old style like oil wrenches that slide the little, you know, rubber or metal slat around the filter, it's just not feasible for a motorcycle. So like a boss left-handed there. Alright. Just let that drain it a little bit. It's got there out. Like I said, you're not going to drain all the oil out through the filter. There's a valve to prevent that from happening unless the bike's running. So basically the contents of the filter are going to come out, and that's about it. And if I'm honest, that's the cleanest oil I've ever seen after 47 miles, 49 miles. That probably could have been run for another 100 miles before the first change, but already here, already doing it. No sense installing. So I'll just let that continue to dribble for a moment, because it'll stop, and then you'll be able to put on your fresh filter. And again, the part number I'm using here is a Fram PH6017a, PH6017a. Some people try to save a buck or two and go with car oil filters that will thread on and physically fit. You know, I guess you could get away with that, but for $1 more, why not buy the part that was specifically made for a motorcycle? So again, there may be some experts out there that will say that, you know, there's no physical difference, they're the exact same thing, you're just paying more for no reason. Just put them back in the box for the first little pour, just to make less of a mess, because I will inevitably spill. Just kind of let that settle down into the different chambers there. That's a bit much. You'll see when I go to put it on, some of it will come out, but that's fine. Make sure the O-ring's nice and saturated. Just makes a nice good seal, and it doesn't crack prematurely. So with bikes, you know, we change our oil a lot more than a lot of car people do, so the odds of that happening are pretty low anyways. Alright, pretty happy with that set. I mean, as you can see, this, I haven't drained the oil out, but no more oil is coming out. So, okay, it'll be obvious from the cut, but I wasn't able to do that left-handed while holding the camera with the right hand. I ended up spilling enough oil on the filter that I couldn't even spin it with the put the gloves on. So basically I just grabbed a rag, wiped it off, put the filter on while using two hands, because you got to line it up right so you get it to catch the threads. But that's all that's happened. Now I'm going to slide this oil pan back underneath where the oil will come out of the drain. See if I can get to it. Get a good angle on it. So, like I said, that's a 12 millimeter. You're just going to crack that open and let it drain for about 5 minutes. Pretty easy stuff. Now, considering I've already got a little bit of oil in here, and this bike does take more oil than this pan can hold, I'm going to actually have to keep the plug handy and stop it, dump, and then start over again. I should probably invest in a proper oil catch one day, but for now, yeah, this works. Let me go ahead and stop. Alright, again, 12 millimeter. And these things are machined so well, and they're all hardened steel. So, you know, once you've cracked the seal loose, you can always do them by hand. If you can't, you need to replace that plug. Make sure you catch your washer and your plug. After, I mean, obviously it depends on what the state of the washer's in. But, you know, the washers take a bit of wear over time, being put off, taken off, and put back on. It is best to replace them, I don't know, every 3 or 4 oil changes, just to be safe, I guess. Some people never change them ever and have never had a problem. Whatever. It's only like, you know, a few cents, so a few cents is nothing for peace of mind. Well, I lucked out. The capacity, it's just right, so I didn't have to put the plug back in. I thought this bike actually held a little more oil than that. So, I don't know whether to be concerned or confused. And if you wanted to be really thorough, you could probably, I'd probably do it, but you could probably put a jack or a strap or a stand on the front, whatever you want to use to raise the front just a little bit. Since on this bike, it the plug faces straight to the back in the center. Most bikes actually the plug is on the side of the kickstand. So whenever it's on its side stand, the lowest point in the oil pan is at the plug, so it fully drains out, you know, easily. This is, you know, the back of the bike is a little lower than the front, but that's probably more to the fact that I've lowered the rear of this bike for my wife to reach. So on a stock suspension and setup bike, you know, you're not going to be able to get quite all of the oil out as quickly and easily. As you can see, this is still dribbling for a long time. But to each their own. Some people don't care about that last ounce or 2 of oil. They'll just put the new stuff in there. And honestly, with the condition of this isn't that bad. I've seen a lot worse on the first first break-in oil change, and I guess that's props to Honda there. And my Interceptor was a lot worse, but that's a much different type of engine than this guy here. More cylinders. That's another nice reason to have a extension, so I can just finish threading this by hand most of the way. It's a lot faster than quarter ratcheting it at a time. Sorry, no more. I've gotten away there. And I don't have a torque wrench. I don't really go by torque specs. I put as much, and it's probably not the best idea. I put as much effort in to get to put it back on as I did to get it off. Essentially, it's always just been my method. But that's it. Now we just refill and let it run for a couple of minutes here in the driveway, and before we take off on it. Okay, this is the state of that first 49 miles on the CBR of the oil. Truck's gonna make a lot of noise going by. I just want to show you what all's kind of in there. You can see. I don't know if I'm picking that quite up on camera as much. But there's probably a good amount of fuel, and there's definitely it's quite glittery. This iPhone obviously isn't going to capture the subtle, but that's only 49 miles. And if you leave it in there for 400, 600 to 1,000 miles, eventually your oil filter will, especially with the small stuff like this, it's not gonna be filtering it out, So I don't know. It's best to get it out of there earlier, I say.